Bore. Good morning, hello, welcome from Wales, North Wales. I'm at Llandudno Junction. Last year I made a video on the Cambrian coastline called Last of the Welsh Request Stops, ticking off some request stops that I needed to do along that branch. But I was aware that there were some along the North Wales coast which I still needed to tick off and do, and talk about request stops in general. So we're going to talk about what was the first request stop, how long have they been in existence, why do they exist, how many are they, and are they on the decrease or increase, because I think they're on the decrease. So we'll go into all of that right after we've had a map to show you where I'm going today, and then I'll get my train, which is due in about 6 minutes time. So this is a journey along the North Wales coastline. Now, I've been to Holyhead before and got out there, as it's where you catch the ferry over to Ireland and is a popular destination. But I've never got out at the 4 stops before Holyhead, which are all request stops, and that's where we're headed today as I tick them off my list and we discuss request stops in general. Now, you can get direct trains from London to Holyhead which go fast along here and skip these stops, as well as Transport for Wales express services which also skip these stops. Instead, I need to be on this train, and that's the Transport for Wales stopping service, which runs every 2 hours. That's the one I need to be on. Great views from the windows here, by the way, and we get to our first stop.
Caergybi.
One, weather's nice, might have to take the jacket off in a minute. 2, I've made it to Valley. Chatting to the guard on the way here, having just done a map, telling him how I'm doing 4 request stops today, the guard has told me that as of yesterday, and today is Monday the 18th of May 2026, as of yesterday in the Sunday timetable change, this no longer became a request stop, it became a permanent stop. Valley is no longer a request stop, and at the end of this video I will be doing a summation of just how many request stops I think there are with my request stop map. But it's a short platform. There's a Harrington hump, it's slightly staggered, there's a level crossing, there's a gorgeous old signal box over there, and the weather's out, and it's just all gorgeous. And I just find it hilarious that the number of request stops has already changed on my first trip to this request stop, which is now a non-request stop, I think. So I'll have a look at the boards and look for some signage, and whilst I do that, here, I think, is a quick history of how request stops came about.
Historically, request stops most likely evolved from the halt, a term that the Great Western Railway popularised in the early 1900s. A simple halt could be built simply and cheaply, sometimes with just wooden platforms, and were often just a platform with a sign. They allowed the railway to serve smaller remote communities that would never justify the cost of a full-time station, and they evolved into being stations where trains only stop on request, thus saving time and energy if a train doesn't need to brake and accelerate again.
Yeah, it's no longer a request stop. If you look at the timetable, the symbol for a request stop, by the way, is the letter X. You'll see it sometimes on a dot matrix, you'll see it on a printed timetable, you'll see it on timetable boards here. There's a little X symbol next to the station name. If I zoom in and do a cutaway, you can see that there's a little X next to the 3 other stations that I'm about to do, but not at Valley. So to kick off my request stop video, I've come to a station that is no longer a request stop. Oh, I forgot to mention, there's a semaphore signal. So crossing gates have gone down, semaphore signal has gone up. I love it.
Transport for Wales are running the new Class 197 trains on this route now, and I do like them, by the way. They feel very bright and very spacious inside. My only wish is that they double up more often so that you got a 4-car train instead of just a 2-car one. And then doing the classic doubling back strategy to tick off as many stations as possible, I skipped 2 stops and went on to my second stop of the day.
Wow, that is quite a step down. Which is why there's some steps here. Oh, sun's out, it's so nice. All right, the jacket has come off because it has warmed up. It's a lovely sunny day. There's literally sheep in the field next to the station. Fast Avanti trains are going through here. They don't stop. Got looking at the timetable board just there. I was intrigued because last night I spent the night in Llandudno, and I was looking on the network map there because my train this morning down to Llandudno Junction, where I sort of started the video, was actually going to Liverpool Lime Street, and it's just occurred to me, I think that's also a new timetable change for May 2026. So TFW, you might want to update your network maps, which shows that you can now get trains from Llandudno direct to Liverpool Lime Street, which is great. More trains going to more places is always good. I just wanted to also touch upon the fact that to get out here just a moment ago, because whenever I make a request stop video, people always say, how does a request stop work? Well, one, when you're on the platform, as this sign over there suggests, you just literally stick your arm out and you sort of flag down the driver to say, yes, I'm here as a passenger and I want to get on. I'm being drowned out by the noise of sheep over there. That's hilarious. But when I was on the train just now to get off here, the guard conductor came along to check tickets. He said, where are you going? And I announced I wanted to get off here, and he went, I'll go and tell the driver. And I thought that that was interesting because he literally went down the front of the train and told the driver. But I'm fairly sure that on previous trains, the guard conductor does a little buzz, they do a ring of the bell, and one buzz, or one ring of the bell, means stop at the next request stop, and two means carry on straight on. So if I get chatting to another guard conductor on one of these trains today, I'll find out if they still do the buzzing of the bell thing. But yeah, what I wanted to do though is just quickly touch on, as part of the history part of this video, is ask myself, and for you to find out, is, well, this is all good, I'm getting around the request stops, and the video will answer how many request stops are there, but what about the very first request stop? Let's talk about that.
So the first formally recognised request stop may have been Dunrobin Castle on the far north line in Scotland. The history books certainly cite this station as a pioneer, as it was originally a private station for the Duke of Sutherland, where trains only stopped by his command, as in, he would literally request the train and that stop became the first request stop.
Also, over the wall, literally just here, there are some cows just hanging out. I startled because I peered over and they went, whoa. Well, they went moo, actually, but you know what I mean. Brilliant.
And with the train in the approach, I raised my arm to make my intent clear that I wanted the train to stop. On to request stop number 3 then, although hang on, I've just had to update my map because Valley is no longer a request stop, so it's number 2. And I did spend a few minutes on the journey double checking on the latest Transport for Wales timetable that these other 3 stations were still indeed request stops, and they are. So I asked the guard to stop, and he told me that we already were, as somebody else had already requested it.
So I failed to get a spectacular shot of the train disappearing very impressively along the straight bit of track into the distance because I was chatting to the nice man over there who's doing some maintenance on the shelter. Welcome to Rosnega. The nice man doing some maintenance, I think he's like fixing the light or some electrical work in the shelter, has told me that the coolest thing about here is that the RAF base, which is just over there, and when I was at Valley earlier there were some planes flying overhead, but I was too busy doing train things. You can actually see the end of the runway here, so in a minute there might be a plane coming in, landing, taking off or whatever. But the tracks, look at the tracks go all the way down, and all I'm trying to decide now is, do I wait here for the next train south to T-Cross, Ty-Cross, and then wait 2 hours, or do I walk? Could I walk from here to Ty-Cross to pick up the next train? That's what I've got to decide by looking at Google Maps, aware that the wind is blowing in. But as part of our history segment, what I would also like to just talk about now, particularly as we think there's a new number of request stop, the least ever, is I'm just wondering what have been the most number of request stops that we've ever had on the network. So let's do that, and then also discuss, with Valley no longer being a request stop, how many request stops we think there are now.
So if we're talking numbers, well then at the peak of their halt era around 1920, there could have been roughly 1,200 request stops across Britain's railway network. Remember though that the network was at least double in size of what it is now. That number though shrunk throughout the years, and in modern times that number came right down to around 150 request stops, settled around the 130-something mark, and then in 2024 several request stops became permanent stops, and so the figure dropped to 112. And right now, in 2026, the number has come down to a low of 107 request stops. There's a link in the description where you can download my request stop map, which shows you where in the country they all are.
There's no barrow crossing, definitely no footbridge at this station if you want to cross from one platform to another. To do that, you have to walk down the long ramp on one side under this bridge, 9 feet 6 inches there, come up the ramp on the other side. I've just noticed it's not many places, not many stations, where there's not a sign. There's no bars and arrows. There's not even something saying station here. There's just a small information board. You could easily drive past it or walk past it without realising that there is a station here. There is no bars and arrows. There is a bus stop. There's 2 tiny bus stops. It's the kind of bus stop that gets 2 buses a day. It's a very low frequency bus stop, and I'm thinking to get to T-Croist I'm going to have to just walk. I think I can do it in about 35-40 minutes, but the town is in that direction. Kind of fancy a drink now because it's a warm day, so I might go to the town, walk back. I don't know, could get the train from here. No, should walk to the next station and get the train from there, but this is just gorgeous. It's still a lovely day, but yeah, what a cute little station.
Yep, sometimes to get between stations when you're taking them off, the best way to do it is to just go for a walk. And thankfully, the majority of it had a pavement, so I wasn't walking on the road. And completely by chance, it turned out, oh yes, that I'd saved the best till last.
Okay, we just got to my favourite station of today. We've made it to T-Croist. There's a signal box, there's someone working in the signal box, there's a semaphore signal, and there's a manual gate, so in a second somebody will come out and operate the manual gate, and it's a request stop. I get to flag the train down, and the sun's shining, and it's Wales, and it's all brilliant. And just come and ride trains, people. Let's just ride trains forever. This is just splendid. This is all sorts of splendid. Okay, officially my favourite station on the branch going up to Holyhead. Staggered platform, by the way. I'm waiting on the eastbound, which looks like a very new platform. That must be the original platform over there westbound. I don't know whether they were originally staggered or not. Anyway, the guy's just come out, he's closed the gates, and we've seen our second cat of the day because we saw a cat earlier. The cat's just like, gates mean nothing to me, and it's just brazenly ducked under the gate, crossed the railway, and it's now plodding down the lane. But I guess this means a train's coming.
That's the 2-hourly westbound stopping train. I'm waiting for the eastbound service to take me back down to Llandudno. But suddenly, trains weren't the only mode of transport that were here.
So I was going to say we've had a fun-filled day on trains, and then some planes flew overhead. So some bonus planes on a train day. 2 trains going there, one fast in this direction, one stopping in that direction. My train is coming at 16:39. It's a few minutes late. I shall head back to Chester and Crewe and back to London that way. What a magnificent day. 3 more request stops ticked off, not Valley, because Valley is now not a request stop. If you want a copy of my request stop map, which I shall update with the latest count, it's in the description down below on my website on geofftech.co.uk. Just looking at it myself, I need to do South Wales, the line down to Pembroke Docks. There are some request stops there. I need to do, as well as get down to the Tarka line down in Devon. I might do that at some point this summer as well. Tick off some more of the request stops down there. That is it. What a magnificent day out on the trains. Love this branch. It's been great being in Wales. The nice weather's helped. It's been really, really, really lovely. So that's all magnificent. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.